Hi, I'm Zuby from Magic with Zuby, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. Just like the show you're listening to now, the opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The intellectual podcast starts now.
Welcome back to the Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson. And before we get into today's podcast, which is the second part of our Oscar predictions rundown, I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate the Intellectual Film team. Intellectual Entertainment last night discovered that we have earned 5 nominations at the 2018 San Diego Film Awards. One of them is for Best Television Program for the Intellectual Talk Show, which we produced this past year, and we earned 3 nominations for our film Forever My Love, including Best Makeup and Hair for John Aviles, Best Costume Design for Teresa Dawson Davis and myself, and Best Actor for Randy Davison. Congratulations, Randy. And we also saw Mike Smith and Lindsay Joel, our visual effects team on Convolution, get recognized for their work on that film as well. So congratulations to the team. It was a wonderful night of announcements. Super exciting. And I also want to make a special shout out to our camera guy and all-around great friend and occasional podcast co-host, Mike Peterson, who was nominated for his commercial Greetings from San Diego that he did with his company DVK. And it's a wonderful piece that really showcases the city. And he got nominated for Best Commercial Program for that as well. So congratulations, Mike. And also, my dear friend and sweetheart of a co-host, Whitney Wegman, was nominated last night for Best Actress in the film Valhalla that she did with Raul Uriola and Uriola Films. And so a big congratulations goes out to Whitney Wegman for her nomination for Best Actress as well. It was a big night for the team. There were plenty of other nominations as well on films that I worked on, like Forgotten Hero. That film garnered a bunch of nominations as well, and some big ones at that. So congratulations all around, really, for everybody involved, and for all of you in the San Diego community who are making films and pushing our community forward and into an industry. Congratulations on a great night. Here's looking forward to 10 days of amazing films and workshops at San Diego Film Week. If you want to get more information about Film Week, please visit sdfilmweek.com. And then join us on April 8th for the San Diego Film Awards, where hopefully we'll be taking home some hardware. That'd be great, right? And then, of course, the Film Awards will then air on KPBS 2 on April 20th, and then will be available on the KPBS app on Roku and Apple TV and various streaming devices in the days following the airing on television.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.
Welcome back to the Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson. I am sitting here at the table with the beautiful Allie, Lennox, the beautiful Ryan Casselman.
Hi.
And we're going to finish off our Oscar predictions. We did kind of most of the technical stuff last week. And we're going to go now into the kind of big stuff.
So like the Oscars, we have them on 2 separate occasions.
Yeah, all you technical people, you get that extra night with a couple celebrities. But we're going to start off tonight's discussion with cinematography,
Great.
which is one of my favorite categories. Because I love motion pictures, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where it starts, like moving pictures. Ryan, let's start with you. because you had one of the best films I've seen out of San Diego in the last year, and I trust your eye on stuff. What did you pick?
Cinematography is not my strong point, though. What I would say, I'm going with Blade Runner 2049. The thing that worries me is that obviously Roger Deakins isn't one. He's been nominated multiple times, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't see the name on the ballot. They just see the movie. So it's not going to matter. They have to know.
Right.
But it worries me because it kind of underperformed in the other major categories. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but I'm going to go with Blade Runner right now. Dunkirk is my second, but I don't know. I'm nervous about this one.
Allie.
I remember very distinctly sitting in the theater of Blade Runner and turning to my friend and saying, "This is a very beautiful film. It's beautiful. This is beautiful." Mm-hmm. So I'm giving it the cinematography. I think there's a scene where it gets all red when I think he first meets Harrison Ford, and I think it's just the most different of all the others. But I could also see Shape of Water.
Just kind
taking
of
it.
Coattailing.
Yeah.
Getting back to your fear that Shape of Water is going to just like
dominate
across a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I don't think Dunkirk will get it, actually, though. That's an interesting alternate of yours. I disagree.
Yeah, I wasn't as impressed with cinematography in Dunkirk. For all the things that I loved about that movie, in the technical side of things, the cinematography I thought was the weakest of the technical aspects of that film.
What did you go with?
Well, I didn't see it, but I saw enough trailers and behind the scenes, and it helped motivate how I shot my most recent film, Tossed Aside. This movie plus Neon Demon and John Wick. I'm on a huge kick right now for neo noir.
Oh, okay.
So Blade Runner 2049, I think is. I think of all these films, it's the one that maybe pushes the envelope the most.
Yeah.
And
in terms
the
of
color
look.
palette on it, just looking at it in the trailers even, the color palette's like nothing else that was in the theaters.
Right.
And to be a big Hollywood release with techniques that a lot of the smaller, kind of grittier indie films are doing, I think is amazing. And it's got a pedigree. I'm not a huge fan of the original Blade Runner, but that movie is also gorgeous. And it lived up to the visuals of the original film.
But will the Academy notice?
Yeah.
Will the Academy agree with us?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll know soon. But yeah, Blade Runner for me as well. So, original screenplay.
Such a tough one.
This is the hardest category for me.
Yeah, this and adapted screenplay, I think, were the two hardest for me overall.
Okay, who wants to start?
I will preface this by saying I loved Get Out.
Yes.
I loved it. I loved that. I thought the script on that was fantastic, and I would not be unhappy to see it win. However, 3 Awards is in there, and it's my favorite film of the year. And I walked out of that movie specifically saying how much I loved the writing. I thought the writing on that movie was superb.
Okay. So that's your vote?
Yeah.
Okay. Allie?
There's still a part of me that thinks just for political reasons and all that, I think if Get Out could win anything, it will win original screenplay. I know it won something recently.
It won the Writers Guild.
And I do think it's a story. I think it's... I thought it really does say something. It's fascinating, and I think that being said, my personal favorite was The Big Sick. But I'm gonna give Get Out I think it's got a shot. I really do. Yeah. So yeah, what'd you go with, Ryan?
Every single film here is really good.
So good.
It's probably one of the strongest years I've ever seen this category.
Absolutely.
I went with 3 Billboards, and I have a reason why. I think Get Out is the most deserving. I think it if you're looking at original, I think it's the most original, which they typically sometimes will go with. They'll say yes. They'll look at that word original and vote with what they feel is original. I love Lady Bird. I think it's really well written. I would love to see that one as well.
Yes.
3 Billboards. The reason why it didn't compete at the WGA, it wasn't eligible, so it didn't get out one over.
Oh,
so that's one thing to consider.
Interesting. Okay.
I just think it's going to be a 3 billboards sweep, like as many categories as it can. I think it's just going to be. This is the category to watch out for, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
If 3 billboards win, then you might. I really think whatever wins this category will win Best Picture.
Oh.
I really do. So even Get Out, if Get Out wins this,
I think you may be right there.
yeah,
I think
you
you're
should
right.
watch out.
Because there is a small part of me. Well, we'll get there. But okay, that's a good. I think that's a great observation.
And this gets back to what makes a Best Picture. You know, like
Good point.
Is
And at
it
the end
the
of the day, does
sum
it
of
not-
all its parts, or is it the story?
Right.
You know?
Well, the story
And-
launches the sum of its part. It
Right.
launches everything else. So
I think it should be a pretty good indicator of what you might expect at Best Picture.
Right.
that being said, I would be happy if any one of them won for best
Absolutely.
screenplay. I would not be happy though if say Lady Bird. I wouldn't be happy if it also then won the best picture. That makes
That's the
sense.
thing. Is this going to be Birdman, or is this
Right.
going to be, Spotlight? Is it going to be
Exactly.
Get Out wins screenplay and then Best Picture and that's all it wins? Is it going to be Lady Bird wins Best Screenplay and then Best Picture and that's all it wins?
Yes.
Or is it going to be like a Birdman year where it's like they loved it, they want to give it everything?
across the board,
Right.
which is the 3
So-
billboards of Shape of Water. So
Yeah.
pretty much the only one that's not a contestant is The Big Sick, even though it's a great story. And it's
I
a true
think the
story.
nomination is probably the award.
I
for
think
that.
it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Just for the sake of not hearing him complain to me that I didn't bring it
Yeah,
up.
what did Mark say?
Yeah.
Cinematography, he has Blade Runner.
Okay.
And original screenplay, he's got Get Out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
See, Mark is good at this, though. I
He
really do
is.
think he is. I think he does his research, but I don't.
does too.
I don't know. So that actually scares me.
I think he looks at the odds in Vegas and goes on those.
Well, this is not a bad strategy.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's a different way to go about it, but yeah, that works too.
Okay, so let's move on to adapted screenplay.
So that's another strong category.
I don't think so.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
there's some good choices here.
Yeah.
It's cool that Logan got in.
I think it's
Usually
I think
no
yes.
representation for comic book movies, so that's pretty cool.
Right.
I think this is the easiest category of the night for me.
Oh, really?
Picking the winner.
Oh, gosh. I hope I picked
So
the same
easy.
one as you then. What'd you go with?
It's Call Me By Your Name.
Okay, yeah, that's what I picked. What did you go with?
Well, I only saw 2 of those films, Disaster Artist and
Mm-hmm.
Logan. So I can't speak to what will actually win, but I will speak to the fact that I would love to see a fucking comic book movie. Like,
And if anyone deserves
take
it,
that.
Logan's
And if
definitely the
If any
one.
comic book movie deserves it, Logan should do it because that movie was really, really well done, and surprisingly well done from the Fox movie house, who have classically not allowed the writers to do a good job of adapting their films.
I actually think
but
that they're
Logan
the
was
alternate.
solid.
If Call Me By Your Name doesn't win, I actually think Logan would be its, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think that would be my next choice, probably.
I honestly can't even see an alternate. I can't even see an
You
alternate.
can't even see an alternate. Not Muppet. Okay,
No,
all right.
I'd be shocked. I'd be so shocked if anything else takes it.
What do you guys think that the Disaster Artist made it in here?
Well, I think the Disaster Artist is in there, if for nothing else, then Hollywood loves
A story about itself.
a story about itself.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
That's a
that
good
was
point.
the strength for La La Land as well.
I just,
You know,
I still think it's kind of a stretch. Still.
but it's a movie about a bad movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, so by nature, it looks better than maybe it is. Because it's good filmmakers making a bad movie within their movie, and it's a genre that's been actually done a couple of times before. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's not hugely original. I think it's just it just serves the usual Hollywood loves a movie about itself.
Absolutely.
check
That
mark.
is a good thing to consider.
Yeah. It's an enjoyable film. And I thought if there was anything it would be up for, it would be
For that.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
But Mark Atkinson, of course, thought I was crazy to think it wasn't going to get a bunch of nominations.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Atkinson loved the Disaster Artist, so clearly he chose the Disaster
Disaster
Artist. No, he chose Call Me By Your
No, he chose Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah. Do you know that
Also lends me to believe
Yeah,
that Mark Atkinson is getting his information from
He sold
Vegas.
out on the movie
he
that you
was,
love so
because
much.
the number of times that I've seen him go see The Disaster Artist or The Room, more importantly,
He made a fan film called The Patio.
He did.
Like, come on.
We
know that this is a bullshit vote on your part, Mark Atkinson.
Mark loves Call Me By Your Name, though, right? He's definitely seen it.
Oh, of course.
No, he hasn't, right?
No, I'm sure he relates to Armie Hammer. Like, I think he sees himself. Yeah, no, I don't think he's seen that movie.
I'm an Armie Hammer type.
We love you, Mark.
Yes.
Is that a love?
Lots of love. Okay, so
Foreign language film. I didn't see any.
I didn't see any one. I haven't seen one of these.
I haven't seen them, but I've heard about two of them, and I went with one because I went with The Insult. I've heard a lot of good things.
It's not any one of these could be. Yeah.
There's one that I actually really want to see, and that's A Fantastic Woman. Mm-hmm. I saw a preview for it recently, and I thought the storytelling style is very interesting, and then learning more about it, it's a story about a trans woman who is in a relationship with an older man, and he dies, and the family doesn't want to let her stay in the house that they were sharing or go to the funeral, and it's a trans actress, and I just think it's timely, and I kind of think there was some interesting filming techniques that I think that they chose. They get a little non-linear in some of their storytelling. So I think it's I don't know. Everyone's out there, but I think The Insult will get it just because I feel like, I don't know, it reminds me, it's more similar to the ones we've had from, I don't know if it was Iraq that came out the last 2 years, The Separation.
Like The Separation.
And those, I think it has a similar thriller vibe to it in that sense.
Or like The Secret of Your Eyes or whatever. I think that's what it was. Okay. Yeah. That's a good choice.
Mark chose A Fantastic Woman.
I chose A Fantastic Woman, too. I heard it's the most heartfelt. So they love heartfelt things.
Yes.
So the movie that's going to make, and I heard this is heard every single one of these is a little bit of a depressing movie, and Fantastic Woman is, from what I heard, is the only one that has a little bit of like an upbeat to it.
Yeah.
Well, I think very often the foreign language films are depressing movies because
they don't have to fill the Hollywood.
Yeah, they
style.
don't have to fulfill the Hollywood style, and you often get, I think, much more like kind of true storytelling out of the foreign films.
The Square does have a chunk of it in English, so that might be something to consider because they'll watch it and be able to not read a fourth of it at least. So who knows? There could be a
if that's why it gets it.
Sometimes people just don't know why they liked it, and the dumb reason they liked it is because they didn't have to read. Because they understood, You never
Dumb American voters.
Exactly.
Oh yes.
Let's not go there. Documentary feature. Anybody seen any of those?
Nope.
I've seen one of them. I don't think it'll win. I think Last Men in Aleppo is the favorite. But if you haven't seen it, go to Netflix, watch Icarus. Fine. Watch Icarus. It's really good. It won't win because it started off as one story that ended up becoming another story accidentally. But it's fascinating. It has everything to do with the Russian Olympics doping scandal. And literally the guy who worked at the medical facility that was figuring out these ways to get their athletes to be tested as clean when they weren't. He was the whistleblower. He's such a character too. It's really, really good. It's on Netflix. Watch
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really good. But I don't think it will win.
So you think which one is?
Last Men in Aleppo. That's one I've heard has been winning stuff. So that's what I went with. How about you guys?
Mark chose Faces, Places.
Yeah.
Really?
That's what I have. I read just descriptions of each of them.
Okay.
I think someone's knocking at the door.
No, there's people upstairs.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can cut that out. You won't cut it out.
I don't care.
You don't care.
I do very little editing on the podcast. Right? It's amazing I get them out at all.
Heard it now.
As busy as I am right now, especially, it's amazing that I get them out at all. I shit you guys not. In the next 8 weeks, I'm visiting 22 cities.
Wow.
All driving?
Driving and flying, a huge combination of everything.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah. Well, hey, making it happen.
Animated feature.
I mean, is there really a question?
Yeah, no. It's we'll say at the same time. 1, 2, 3, Coco.
Yeah. From the moment I saw the trailer for that movie, I was like, well, Pixar gets it again.
Yeah.
Right.
It's their film to lose.
For sure. It's probably the another one that's like a sure bet.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where if anything else wins, you're going to see everybody in the theater go, what?
Boss Baby? What?
Although, to be fair,
I know
I've heard tremendous things about Boss Baby from people who've seen it.
All right.
But even the people I know who've seen it and loved Boss Baby, they also saw Coco, and they said there's no way in hell anything's beating Coco.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
And, it's the first time we've had in an animated feature a Hispanic lead. So that's, I think, that alone, not alone, but I think the combination of the fact that it's just a great film and a great story, add on that little extra piece.
Look, I'm not happy that they came over the wall to take over our anime features, okay? So let's make a wall around the Oscar and keep those
just a few minutes.
Keep those dirty Mexicans out.
Right.
You made me go there, Allie.
Yes, they're paying for it with our tax dollars. That's right. Damn it. Okay. Anyways.
And and Mark says Coco. So there we go. Best Supporting Actress.
I think this is another one I'd love to see Mary J. Blige win. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'd love to see Laurie Metcalf win.
I would love that so much.
I love Allison Janney. Love her. Mm-hmm. But I think if I had to choose between the two of them, I would want Laurie Metcalf because I just think she's less likely to be given the opportunity again, whereas I think everybody, Emmys love Allison, Oscar loves Allison, everyone loves Allison Janney.
Right.
That being said, she'll probably win.
Right.
What did you guys vote for?
I would love to see Laurie Metcalf win too. Mm-hmm. That would be great. I had to choose Allison Janney because I think it's a little bit more showier. Mm-hmm. And they typically lean that direction, thinking like The Fighter, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think Tanya is probably going to win, but if Laurie Metcalf wins, that'd be great. I think it's an underrated. I think it's actually one of the best performances out of any this year.
Yeah, I also don't think you see a lot the mother character that is well rounded and is flawed, and you see that, and she's not. She's not bad and she's not good. I just think it was
right. I mean, if you look at these two, they're both, some can say, like, not perfect moms, but with
but
her,
one seems
she's
like
more human.
Of a character.
Right?
One exactly. She seems more human. You can see, like, when they say go see Lady Bird with your mother, it's so true.
Absolutely.
All right, what did you go with though?
I went with Allison Janney for Tanya just because, again, I haven't watched any of those films. But I wanted to see I, Tanya just because of
it's so
the
good.
trailer and
seeing
Allison Janney in the trailer. I was like, that's amazing.
The soundtrack is also awesome. It's just the whole, it's really good. You should see it when you have some time.
I definitely want to see it. But I don't know where I'm going to find the time.
And actually, Allison Janney, the mom was one of the only people that they were not able to track down. So she had to go off of like 2 tapes that they had of hers in the interview wearing the coat.
And
with
it's
the bird.
spot on. It is.
Now, something I do want to talk about with supporting actress and going into the lead actress category. There's often been complaints about female roles vanishing as ladies get older. Mm-hmm. But there's a tremendous number of seasoned actresses in seasoned roles in these 2 categories that I think is wonderful to see.
I mean, if you compare the best actress to the best actor category, I think the ladies won in terms of caliber of performances. I mean,
yes.
I think we were struggling to fill a 5th spot for lead actor, and then lead actress. There's still more we can shove in here. This year. So
yes, I think the roles for women are getting better and stronger. Although there were still 5% less female roles this year than there were last year. I just read that.
Really?
On IndieWire. If you want to fact check me, because I was just going through and I was putting down, oh my God, supporting actor. There's all these other actors that I would have considered, and I couldn't think of anyone for best supporting actress.
Right.
Best actress is a different story, but as far as best supporting actress, there just weren't as many. I couldn't think of any. But anywho, what did I'm sure Mark went with Allison Janney. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So good job, Mark.
So way to go, Vegas. Best lead actress.
Best lead actress.
I'll start. This is probably, I'm actually going very boring with these 4 categories. I'm going to go straight down the line.
Yeah.
So Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards.
Yeah.
Did she win BAFTA?
She won BAFTA.
She did. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She won BAFTA. She won Golden Globe.
What did Sally Hawkins? She won something.
I don't know what she won.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's been Frances from all I've seen, all the televised at least.
And even just watching her, like I loved watching her at the Golden Globes, like shooing away the camera so she could focus on the stage.
Right.
Her performance in this, most of all, is just, something special.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's who you want.
And you know, oftentimes when you go watch a movie and everybody's talked about it to death and you go watch it, you're disappointed, right? Like, and so I went to see 3 Billboards here at San Diego International because I'd heard from the Mickelsons and a couple other people at the festival that like, this is Frances McDormand's like best role ever, and like she's gonna definitely win the Oscar this year. Like that was the lead-in for me seeing 3 Billboards. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I should go see this thing, you know? So I went in anticipating this like amazing performance from Frances McDormand, which usually means I'm going to be disappointed because I'm going in with such high expectations. And 15, 20 minutes into the movie, I'm like, she's going to win the Oscar. You know, like,
Well, there you go.
She's so good. And then I was like, everybody's going to be nominated in this movie.
Right.
And by the end of it, I was like, it should win everything. I just fell in love with this movie. Like,
and for those who were, I was actually hesitant to see 3 Billboards. I think I thought again, oh, this is going to be so depressing. I don't know if I can handle it. There's what I love about it is it's like real life, where there's a nice slew of comedy in there, even with Frances's character. And some of her best moments are those little bit of those sarcastic kind of comments that she makes, and so it's not too heavy, I don't think. And I mean, you just. Like it makes you, I want to be her. She's just awesome.
Well, she's kind of tapping into the, people being so angry right now, being kind of wanting to go out in the streets and protest and being angry. So she's kind of tapping into that anger. And everyone feeling that way.
Did you see what happened in Florida a couple days ago?
Someone repeated the 3 billboards.
Somebody bought space on 3 of those portable billboards on the back of trucks and parked it right outside of Marco Rubio's place.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was cool.
That's what this film needs, though. It needs to feel relevant right now. What's going on?
Yeah, and it needs to not get pigeonholed for, yes, there's a racist character in the film,
right? Because there's.
But there's racist people in real life too,
right?
And art is supposed to imitate life, and I think this.
Well, and that's what I think was amazing about 3 Billboards was its kind of unabashed honesty about race relations from a white perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Like you get Out, and we've seen lots of black films that make the comment about race, and we've seen a lot of films that really integrate whites into blacks to tell the story of race. But this movie tells the story of race without really showing a black person getting injured by a white person.
Which I think is a lot of people's problem, though.
Right, I do think that's
But it's just people hating on the racist.
Well, I think what it does show is how, at least in our culture, white culture, is the excuses we make for people. Like the Sam Rockwell character. Oh, the same way that Woody Harrelson's character does. Oh, he's really a good guy. Yeah. Well, this was just a one-time thing, so I think I see both sides of it. I don't think it should deter the film's value because of it. That being said, when I was watching Call Me By Your Name, I was like, it was nice that I'm not having feeling any conflicts of like, oh, there's a racist character on there, but I don't know. It's kind of figuring out where that line is. And
I have my issues with the movie as a whole, but in terms of those, where everyone's kind of being more political, I feel like I'm understanding a little bit more about what their intention is. They're trying to challenge you,
right?
To see, is Sam Rockwell redeemable, right? That's something they're trying to question.
I think the point is that the writer, the director, they weren't going into this not unaware. I think they were very much aware of the character that they had and what they were doing with that character and what they wanted to get across.
Yeah. But I think that question of whether or not somebody like that can change.
Right.
and if they can change without some like in your face moment, you know, it's just because oftentimes a lot of us change gradually, you know, through our interactions with other people. And typically the interactions we have with other people are similar people to us, you know, like,
well, and I think that's kind of what happens with Sam Rockwell's character. I don't think he doesn't fundamentally change in terms of his feelings towards minorities, but his empathy towards humans as people themselves.
Which was a little bit of my problem. A little bit. That's what the
problem was.
Just because it's like, what, you give him orange juice?
Right. They make him redeemable without actually having, he doesn't change, he does, none of his beliefs in that sense change. That's a fair,
It's, you know, really actually my main problem with the movie, it's not, I don't want to get into this because we're just supposed to go through the Oscars. Really, it's just
part of it. I mean,
okay, as a narrative, really just as being satisfied. And like the ending just did not connect with me one bit.
Now, I've heard that from a few people.
I've heard that from a few people.
And maybe it's connecting with other people. So I don't like to say movies are bad because it's connecting with so many people. So if it's connecting with, if so many people love it, there's something to it. That's my belief.
Right.
There has to be some, it just didn't connect with me, you know?
Do you feel maybe though that the reason it didn't connect with you is because it didn't, because one of the reasons I liked it left me a little bit like, wait, what? But it's not a Hollywood ending. It doesn't wrap things up. It leaves it very open-ended. And I think that's partially what people had an issue with. Do you think that's why? Or do you think, what is it about the ending that didn't resonate with you?
It just felt like when I walked out, I felt like I didn't learn anything about what this movie was trying to say. Or I didn't feel it was, if there is a little thing I noticed about how far can you be redeemable if you do this, this, and this, I didn't find that as interesting as some of the other movies this year.
No, that's a really good point. You're right. I don't think I left thinking like, okay, I learned a whole
right, which is
or you know, or that it made me think.
Right. Or that the themes were, you know, didn't stick out to me as something that I was like, oh, that's very interesting. That's just me. I think there's a lot to like in the movie, though.
And how about you? Because this is your favorite movie. What did you think of the ending?
I love the ending. And I love the ending because it is open-ended. And it's the type of ending that makes people talk about it afterwards.
Right.
And discuss how they feel about it. And I don't think it's wrong to dislike that ending.
Right.
And I think that's part of the beauty of it, is that it's a film that like everybody can be on board with until the ending, and then the director's like, hey, so now like I'm gonna make this choice here, and it's gonna leave you to decide how it actually finishes. And you all can talk about it. And this gets into one of my beefs with Christopher Nolan all the time. I think he's a brilliant filmmaker who then pulls his punch at the end all the time and like explains everything for you, you know. And
so you probably love the Inception ending.
That's why I hated Interstellar, but I loved Inception.
Right.
See, I actually hated the ending.
I loved Inception because of that ending.
Yeah.
It's the type of ending that makes you go.
Everyone moaned in the theater, right?
Right? You know, and then we can talk about it and we can discuss it. And 2001, same thing, you know, like,
but that's how
what does that ending mean?
I felt like
love endings like that.
There was to discuss in Inception because everyone's trying to figure out how, oh, no, it did because this, this, and this. But for me, for Three Billboards, I got the ending and I didn't know and I didn't really care. That's the problem with my viewing. It's really weird. Got out of the movie and I'm like, I don't know where they're going. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really care, I guess, with these characters. Is someone knocking the door? Oh, okay.
See, now when I watched it and I got to that ending, the question for me was, do they actually go forward?
Right. Okay.
Does the rage monkey racist?
This is spoiler alert, by the way.
Does the rage monkey racist? And the movie's been out for a while.
Okay.
Well, spoiler. It's been hard to get that movie to see it. It's been.
Does the rage monkey racist and the vengeful woman are they able to get past their anger and not commit a huge mortal sin?
So this is where I took issue with the ending.
You know, because a lot of things come out of people's anger that has nothing to do in the end with the thing that made them angry.
Right.
Like that happens all the time. I'm pissed and I got to channel this rage somewhere, and they end up hurting other people that shouldn't be hurt.
Right.
Right. So that ending for me was really interesting in that question of, do you feel like these two people are going to do the right thing or
that's interesting,
or the vengeful thing?
Right.
and the rage-fueled thing, which we saw through the whole movie. These people making large decisions that negatively affected people all around them who they cared about and didn't care about, right?
Yeah.
But here at the end, have they grown through those experiences enough to understand that their rage maybe isn't what's going to, like, following through on that rage isn't the thing that's going to make their lives fulfilled.
Right.
You know? And so that's a wonderful question to leave that film with. If there is a message in that movie, it's how do you cope with rage? How do you cope with your grief? How do you cope with your anger? Mm-hmm. And where do you channel that energy when all is said and done? And can you find a place where you can find peace while still being pissed off?
See, that was my problem. So what you said, beautifully said.
Thank you.
That was exactly my problem with the ending. I love open-ended endings that ask you that question, but I felt in a lot of ways that they answered that question, even in that moment that you see them. I think you know the answer. They're not, because I think you know the answer. You can see that the anger is out of them and that they've moved past that. I think it's almost like they ended it a little bit too late. If they had maybe ended it a little bit early, I would have maybe believed that question more. Whereas I feel like they left, I don't know, maybe that's just the way I took it, but I just felt like you could tell that they weren't going to, they weren't going to actually go and kill this person that had nothing to do with their particular hurt. I think it had a lot of great...
I could see that argument.
Yeah.
That they lingered on the shot.
I think they lingered on it a little too much.
3 or 4 seconds too long.
You could see them have that moment of, what are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. Well, we're just going to drive. And I thought that was beautiful, but at the same time, that annoyed me more in the sense that it didn't leave the question open, to me anyways. Mm-hmm. It answered it without still wrapping things up. Mm-hmm. So I'd like it to be either one or the other. But yeah.
But it is always interesting, and that's what I love about open-ended endings, how differently everybody interprets an ending like that.
Yeah.
Because I walked out of that screening, because it was a film festival, right? So everybody went to go talk about it afterwards. And even after that, in a theater full of people, 200-something people in the theater, you could hear different interpretations of the ending. Right. And I love that. I love that it was so wildly different on the interpretation. We can all look at the same thing, and this is one of the things that I love. We can all look at the same thing
and read it differently,
and read it completely differently, because we all come from our own experiences, our own perspectives, our own backgrounds, which again is also part of the story of Three Billboards. They all have their different backgrounds, they have their different upbringings, but we all have to coexist in some certain way. And with all this diverse viewpoints of the world, you know, where do we all end up together in it? You know,
right.
And I for me, it was just, I thought it was.
It also could be back to the expectations thing. You know, I really saw the trailer and thought, okay, this is probably going to be one of my top 3 movies of the year for
so
sure.
You went in with high expectations.
Because I loved In Bruges.
Oh,
so I was like, okay, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I was very taken back on how much I wasn't in love with it, which is just odd. And I think one of the scenes that I remember sticking out the most is the one where, if this is spoiler, if you haven't seen it, whatever, the one where I think Frances McDormand's in the kitchen, and then John Hawkes comes in with a knife, and then there's this kind of the girlfriend of him. They're like going through 3 tonal changes in that one scene, and it didn't feel like it worked. Like tonal management there, like it fell a little.
For what was happening, it was a very quick, like, oh my God, it happened, and then dismissal of it.
Right.
Now here's a question I have. Do you go watch a lot of theater?
I do. No, not too much, but sometimes.
Because that scene for me was the most theater-like scene of the whole film. And this is a playwright making a movie.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Right, so that scene for me felt very much like a play.
Interesting.
That's how scenes play out in plays. You know, like big stuff happens, another character comes in, like rapidly changes into a different direction.
And I think that's when I'm supposed to laugh. When she says something like, hey, is everything okay? I think I'm supposed to laugh there, but I wasn't. I don't know why. It just... It didn't work for me tonally, which is weird.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to balance too much.
Well, I think I didn't like how quick and dismissive they were of that. So I think that might have been maybe what you were you know, having an issue with as well.
And also Sam Rockwell.
Another question I have for you.
Yes.
Have you spent much time in the South?
The South, no. No time in the South. My dad's from the South.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things like that, like the dismissive of somebody holding a knife to somebody's throat and stuff. Like,
it's every day.
Some of it's just every day. One of the things I loved in Black Panther, by the way.
Haven't seen it.
There's a beautiful part in that movie where...
no actual spoilers, because it hasn't been out long.
I'm not going to say it, but Michael B. Jordan, be on the lookout for it, has a moment that is all wrapped up in that. That personal experience, upbringing, background, the whole bit. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, ties right in with what we're saying right there. That, you know, if you grow up in the South or you spend any time in the South, there's just a nonchalant attitude about certain behaviors.
Interesting. Well, that's
especially domestic violence behaviors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So really, really interesting. But again, your appreciation of a film comes so much from your own experience too.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's so that's why I don't like to be too critical of movies or invalidate anybody else's opinion, because it's just like it's so
well, it's art. It's all subjective.
Right. It is absolutely subjective.
You know,
absolutely.
Yeah. Unless it's Christopher Nolan, most of the time it just sucks.
Oh man.
I actually like Dunkirk. I'm going to be the one guy who liked Dunkirk on the podcast.
You know what? I liked it just fine. I thought it was enjoyable.
It was
one of his strongest films. I thought
it was not one of his strongest films.
I thought so.
I don't.
He did Memento, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm not saying it's better than Memento. Just saying it's better than Interstellar.
I'll agree with that.
It's definitely better than that third Batman thing.
Definitely. I'll go with that too.
All
right. So let's get back on track with lead actress.
No,
we skipped. We did that.
I guess. Supporting actor?
I think
we did supporting actress, but I don't think we actually said our best lead actress.
Oh, well, I
think
did
you
Francis.
did. And then we went into our conversation about Three Billboards.
I mean, Francis
you went with Francis. That was my choice as well.
Okay. I think Sally Hawkins should be winning more, though. I really do.
Too.
Yeah, Mark says Frances McDormand too. So Vegas is on with us too.
Okay, good.
Right on track.
Best supporting actor.
Let's get into this one because there's a couple. First of all, that I don't think should have been nominated, and a few that could have been nominated.
Who should not have been nominated?
Okay, I love Woody Harrelson. First of all, he's not in the film for very long, and it's sweet and it's wonderful, but I don't. Like I would have.
Yeah, but not in the film for very long. I mean,
okay, fine, not in the film for very long.
He does have a lingering.
He has a lingering. It has nothing to do with that. I just don't think his. I think what his role was more important to the other characters and their story, but I don't think his particular acting style, like it still was Woody Harrelson to me. I think I liked him better in True Detective, maybe. I also, and again, I haven't seen it.
Oh, he was so good in True Detective.
Oh yeah, no, True Detective he was great. He was great. I did see that. I have not seen All the Money in the World. I love Christopher Plummer. But again, I kind of wonder if that's a little bit of you get nominated because you came in very last minute and
saved the day.
Save the day. And I thought Armie Hammer and the father in Call Me By Your Name, Michael Stolberg, would have been great options. Lucas Hedges in Lady Bird.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
He's not been talked about at all.
I mean, he wasn't. I mean, and he's the same guy that was the nephew in
Manchester
by the Sea. And he was great. And I thought it was such an honest portrayal of a boy kind of coming to terms to his sexuality. And then
in Lady Bird?
In Lady Bird.
Do you suppose he's overlooked because primarily that film's being touted as a female film?
It could be, which is sad because the whole point is it's a female film shouldn't just be rewarding females. It should reward everyone in the film that does a superb job. So it could be. That could be why.
I probably wouldn't have put him in. It's pretty tight. But and he's also, his role is pretty small and he kind of disappears.
And he's still young. He'll be around. I'm also going to throw in Lil Rel from Get Out, the friend, but it's comedy. I just thought he was so...
The security guard?
He plays the best friend in Get Out.
I mean, the one that's airport
always,
security?
Yeah, the one that's always the photo. I think he was so fun about that movie.
I think the maid, was so good.
Well, and also the one guy, and he's been in stuff, the other guy that's...
From Short Term 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's really good supporting actors there.
Yeah. So,
great work.
Yeah. That being said, William Dafoe, absolutely think he deserves to be nominated. I don't even know. What do you think about Richard Jenkins? Is his role strong in Shape of Water?
Have you seen it? No?
No, it's the one that I need to see the most because I know it's going to do so well.
No, yeah, he does well. I think Woody Harrelson being in this category shows how strong people feel about Three Billboards.
Yes,
Right.
The fact that they double dipped there.
And
Yeah.
they've double dipped in almost every awards program.
Is that right? Yeah. So that shows a lot of strength there.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you guys going with? You want me to tell you who I'm going with?
I went with Sam Rockwell.
I think,
Right.
yeah.
Sam Rockwell?
Yeah.
I think William Dafoe in Florida Project, I am unbiased because that is my favorite movie of the year. But I think he does have that kind of Mahershala Ali factor where he's not in a lot of the movie, but you feel his warmth presence throughout the whole movie.
Even in the trip, yeah.
And that was my thing last year. I was like, how could he win? He's barely in the movie, but he does. Yeah, it was enough.
Yeah, well, like I was trying to say a minute ago, and I forgot the name of the movie, but Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, he was in like 7 minutes of the film,
Right.
and everybody still quotes the guy.
You can't handle the truth. Yeah.
The length of your performance isn't
You're right.
in equality to the gravity of your performance.
But unlike with Woody Harrelson, I think William Dafoe's part in the Florida Project is just
right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the Oscar-y performance where he's doing noticeably a lot. Like he doesn't look like. It's just kind of a more natural performance. So.
And that would be a great surprise win too, because the Florida Project was an especially indie low budget. Sure. Not the way indie projects have become now, which are basically glorified Hollywood budgets. But yeah. So, but I think Sam Rockwell, again, also another overdue. So that could be a factor. Do you think Woody Harrelson being in there is a detriment to him at all?
Yeah, I mean they could vote split.
I don't think
just with the way things are going, probably
I think
not.
But if you have the two options, though, I think people always pick Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has won
almost everything.
Leading up to this, so I don't think it's going to be any different here.
If the 6,000 members though do have a problem with Three Billboards, it's this character they're going to have the most problem with.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't win here, then.
But I think that would be one of those things too, where the Academy voters are going to appreciate an actor who went all in on a character like that. Mm-hmm. Especially someone like Sam Rockwell, who's a great comedic actor, as well as a good dramatic actor. But I mean, a lot of us know him for his comedy work.
Mm-hmm. And you can even see it in Three Billboards, just these little moments that are
he's
just.
He's a good, friendly guy. He's a nice guy, and even he says in interviews, like, I don't know why I keep getting cast as these like assholes.
He's a despicable person in the movie from what he does.
Despicable in this,
but he is interesting nonetheless.
And he goes at it with everything he's got. And I think whether people like the character or not, they appreciate the work he put into it because he did put enough work into it for them to hate it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I mean, this category is also
hate the character, not the performance.
That's true, but this category and specifically, they love the villain. Look at the Joker in Dark Knight or the bowl cut guy and
No Country
for Old Men.
Yeah.
This is
They love a good villain.
They love someone, winking devil.
Yep.
So that's him in this movie.
All right. So best lead actor. Where's everybody go with that?
Let's go with Mark first.
Mark going to Vegas. Best lead actors: Gary Oldman in The Darkest Hour.
Yeah.
Surprise!
No
Surprise!
Probably the third easiest one to call of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen Phantom Thread. Daniel Day-Lewis is always really solid.
Yes, I'm sure he's great. Denzel's always pretty solid as well.
I actually didn't see that one.
I haven't seen it either. I'm not going to lie. I think, he's probably too young, won't get it. It's again, Gary Oldman's to lose. Another great breakout, Timothy Chalamet, whatever his name is. Really good. I mean, even just the last shot of the film, it's on his face for a good couple minutes, and the range of emotions that you see him go through, it's just so, I was very impressed for someone that young.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's going to go to Gary, and he deserves it.
Yeah, well, he's never won an Oscar before, right? Like,
so this is kind of, there's definitely somewhere I think he could have deserved it.
And he's one of those really interesting actors. He's in so much stuff.
Talking about Gary Oldman?
Yeah. He's in so much stuff, but he just kind of disappears into his characters.
He absolutely does, yeah.
To such a degree where I think sometimes you forget his name being attached to a film. Like, I've mentioned some films to people, and they're like, he was in that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, The Professional. He's the bad guy in The Professional.
Oh,
what?
yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You know, you get a lot of that with him. Where
Detective in Dark Knight.
People love his performances, but they forget that he's the guy in it.
Serious.
I'm trying to think of the Quentin Tarantino written one. Gosh, what's the name of that one? Quentin Tarantino wrote it. It's got Christian Bale in it. Oh, people are yelling at us right now.
Not American Psych.
No, it's, oh gosh, I'll think of it later.
Sorry.
But he plays a drug dealer. He plays a white guy who thinks he's black, and he's at the strip club. Do you remember that?
I don't remember
He
that.
does such a good job.
No, but I really want to see it now.
Remember the name, please, and let us know.
Oh, he does such a good job.
But so we're pretty much
yeah, I mean, that's across the board for sure.
Daniel Kaluuya. It takes a revisit of the movie. For the first time, like, why would he be nominated? I rewatched the movie. I was like, oh, yeah, he deserves a spot
Really?
here. Yeah,
great. I wasn't actually sure about that because, I mean, I guess, but a lot of it's told from his perspective, so.
He elevates the material with his facial expressions.
It's a lot of quiet acting.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes it easy to forget, too.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I think it's Gary Oldman's to lose, for sure. Directing, and I'm going to.
I know what's last for you.
You and me, we're directors,
yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, I've seen so few of them, I can't really speak to it. There's only 2 of these that I've seen. Dunkirk and Get Out.
Here's what I'm curious about for both of you. Did you guys is your directing and Best Picture the same, or did you split them?
I split.
Okay, because I think that's becoming more. It's what's been happening in the past couple of years. It happened with Spotlight and Birdman. It happened last year. Is what I can't remember.
I mean, it's happened a lot lately. Yeah.
It used to be not very common, but now, and I think that's becoming the norm. The trends become the norm. So
the thing for me is like, you can direct the shit out of something, but the overall film's still not great.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like see that happen all the time.
Is that who you're referencing in that particular? Because it sounds like it.
No, I'm just saying, you know, from my own personal experience, there's a difference between producing a film and directing a film.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Best Picture is about producing.
Right.
And directing is about directing.
Right. That's true. I think this lineup is amazing, personally.
I do too.
I think it's amazing.
There's 3 that I'd be very happy with. 1 that I wouldn't, and 1 I just haven't seen the movie, so I can't tell you.
What are your 3 that you'd be happy with?
Jordan Peele. I would be.
Who's my top pick?
I honestly, like, it's not who I voted for, but I would just. I want him to win over Greta Gerwig, and I would love to have a woman win, but I think Jordan Peele did something special. Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, I think that would be great, and who I think will win, who I voted for, Guillermo.
Now, let me ask you.
Yes.
When looking at films for directing,
yes,
say you're a judge or you're making a decision, what do you look for directing?
Oh, that's a great question.
How do you evaluate directing?
That is a really good question. I think every director is going to be different too. Whether you're a technical director, you're going to look for different things.
Right.
You know, I'm all about scene work. So I'm going to be doing a lot of directors that are really good with bringing out performances and
the actor's director.
Yeah. And I like, so one thing that also, I don't know if you saw, Sterling posted a little article from on his Oceanside Film Festival Facebook page. I didn't notice this before today. I didn't know that these are all auteur directors. These are all people who write their own material, which is really nice.
Oh,
I love seeing that because that's a big thing for me. I love directors that write their own material.
Well, and who do it well.
And do it really important. Well. Yeah. So, you know, I don't really know what I look for, really. And originality is good. That's always something that I look out to. Really, typically, I will look for, could anybody else do this film?
Oh.
You know, and I really, Christopher Nolan, could anybody else fill in for him for Dunkirk? Some could say yes. I don't know. Jordan Peele is like the standout this year, like the big explosive.
Yeah.
You know, we need this voice right now. In Hollywood.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. Every year it's going to be different.
No, I think you gave a good couple of criterias, but then who did you go with?
I think who's going to win is Guillermo del Toro. Yeah. I think lately, like you said, it's been splitting. He's been winning mostly everything. He won DGA. He won at BAFTA over British directors, which is pretty impressive. And I think it's also the best director has been going to the technical director lately.
Yes.
The person who can do, no one else could bring these technical achievements to the screen.
Right.
Like
create these
Gravity
characters that's
and
not real. And yeah.
So I'm going to go with Guillermo. I feel pretty confident about it.
Yes. And I think that they would want to reward him personally.
Yeah.
Because of the stuff that he's been doing lately. Yeah. So, yeah. What did you go
I can
with?
see Guillermo getting it just because, like you said, they've been picking a lot of technicals lately.
Yeah.
I would love to see Jordan Peele get it.
Is that who you voted for?
And I also think Jordan will get it just because Oscar's so white.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
And this movie was so well received. It's so well performed. And like you said, it's kind of like the right thing at the right time.
And remember, this movie came out last year, March or February. It's been out for so long, and we still haven't stopped talking about it.
Yeah,
I'm very proud that you voted for it. I would love to see it win. That would just.
I think it has a better shot in screenplay than directing. I feel like people feel.
Yes. Oh, I
don't know how
think
people feel about it, but I feel like people find it more in the writing and the original idea.
Yeah.
I feel like people love the idea more than maybe the direction, but the direction is great too. That sunken place scene is like the standout of the year. It's like, that's when I felt like this guy guy is a director.
That's when I got really creeped out because I was like, oh my God, I don't want that to ever happen.
I think for me, what I look for in the directing is performance, blocking, not just like where the camera's pointed, but how the actors are flowing through a scene. And I think that's something that is really well done in Get Out. Because you're talking moving from room to room, and how do you maintain the focus where you want it to be? And I think it's just exceptionally well done across the board on that. Again, I haven't seen The Shape of Water. I know Guillermo's work. He's a beautiful filmmaker, very technical filmmaker. But I think oftentimes for me as a director, I think he forgets the acting.
Are we talking about Guillermo?
Guillermo, yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's me.
Yeah.
I have my own biases about Guillermo as a director. But I would love to see Jordan Peele win just because that movie was such a surprise.
Yeah.
Too. Guillermo is solid. You expect The Shape of Water to be a solid film.
Yes.
Jordan Peele would Get Out. It was such a wham, just hit you out of left field. Like, where did this come from? And how did he pull this off?
And it was very, strong production value for, again, another very low budget film.
Low budget film that made a lot of money back.
If Greta Gerwig does win, though, I won't be completely shocked because of the Me Too movement.
No, I won't be shocked. I'll be happy. I'll be a little bit like, did she win because of it?
Well, right. That would be the problem with that movie winning this year is it would be like the asterisk next to it.
Which if it deserves to win, it should win for its own merits and not simply because of it. That's the whole point.
Right. Exactly.
Is that it's not to be picked out because it's female. It just is what it is. It just belongs there, kind of thing. So, I agree with.
In the end, true equality is about everything being on its merit.
Yes.
Not because you're one thing or another.
That being said, I honestly am not kidding. Out of the Best Picture, I would vote for Lady Bird at number 1 on my ballot because I actually like that movie more than any one of these movies, which is pretty amazing to say, actually. Yeah, which is, people always have the discussion like, could Greta Gerwig do what Christopher Nolan did? And they try to use that as like, she's not as strong as a director.
Give her enough money and more crew. Yes, she can. That's
can you see Christopher Nolan try to do what Greta Gerwig did?
No.
Could he do that? Right?
No.
It's all different, right?
That's very interesting. It's a good point. Yeah.
And I think Greta Gerwig, for me, what I saw in her directing this year was a strong ability to direct actors.
Yes.
And a strong ability for tonal. She seemed to have a complete control over her movie for her first time.
It had a very strong mood, and it was an ode to Sacramento. Like I felt that, this was a love story to this town.
I think with kind of Woody Allen being more and more irrelevant now, kind of people are not finding him as exciting as a director. There's like a big spot for someone to come in and fill.
For the actor's director,
Right. And I think she might be one of those people who can come in and because she's so incredibly clever, unique.
Which is interesting because she said she was influenced by Woody.
Well, there you go.
Allen, so.
But
maybe not a great thing to say.
Well, you know,
Especially since I don't care much for Woody Allen. But,
she's said a lot of things about Woody Allen,
but anybody, I mean, Jordan Peele would be great to see as well. He deserves it as well.
Just out of curiosity, see what Vegas went with for directing.
Guillermo.
I would like to.
I'm sure he went with Guillermo.
My phone died.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, we can assume he probably went with what's
But I'm
popular,
pretty sure it was
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
So the final category, the big nut, the huge, large, fat, stinky cheese, best picture.
And so you were saying you would want
Let me ask you
Lady
this
Bird to
question
win.
first before we get into this.
I
How do you
wouldn't.
feel about all the nominations they do now in this category? like they allow up to what, like 12 movies now?
No, it's
The
up to
thing-
10.
the one thing I don't-
And they do 9.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like is that it could be anywhere from 5 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
I like a set number, 5 or 10.
Yes.
10, sometimes it's annoying because those kind of weaker films get into that 10, aka Blindside kind of squeezes in. And then sometimes when you have 5, you get Dark Knight doesn't get anything.
Right.
I don't know if that makes you upset because you
Made
don't
me
like Christopher
upset.
Nolan too much.
Dark Knight shouldn't get anything.
There you go.
Anyway, keep going.
I'm okay with the sliding scale. It's a bummer when some films don't get in because they weren't, I guess, as loved.
Well, the question for me is like, what is the scale? Like,
Yeah.
what is the threshold that lets something get into that?
Well, yeah,
10?
as far as nominations go, it's like this whole weird process where people have to vote and rank the films, and then you have to reach a certain percentage of those votes to get nominated. You have to have like, I don't remember the percentage, but a certain percentage, you have to pass the threshold of having that many number 1 votes to get
number
nominated.
1 votes.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So if you don't reach that threshold, you'll be dropped off. So that's how sometimes it could be 6, 7, or 8 or 9.
Because I still am baffled how the Post got in over I, Tonya, other than the fact of Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
It just means that the Post hit that threshold, and
did- yeah,
Tanya
and
didn't have
didn't.
enough.
Enough number
Well, and the
ones.
Post is
And Spielberg.
again, well,
Yeah.
Well,
all great. I love all 3 of them.
the Post. What I'm getting at with the Post is it's relevant.
That's
True.
the number one
It's,
thing.
You're right. It's
the
relevant.
Hollywood formula thing of like, hey, let's turn our eye on the government and make our comments about it. And
Argo
free
in a
press
way.
and
Free
everything
press.
Yeah.
else. And so it totally fits into that kind of like, hey, this is probably going to get a Best Picture nom if nothing else.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I just think the Post suffers from, at least for me, I compare it to Spotlight in terms of recency bias. And it just, and I guess to be fair, I haven't seen it. But I'm not interested in seeing it the way the Spotlight, it was new, it did something different. And I liked that it was also a ensemble cast.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah. I think that I think they probably rushed this movie to get it in time.
I think so,
So
yeah.
I think it
yeah.
may show in the movie. Maybe not for some people. I don't know. For me, I felt like maybe it was a little rushed
Yeah.
because they were trying to get it in on time because it's the year to release it. If they're going to release it, if it's going to win an Oscar, they want it to be
Right.
relevant. So,
Yeah.
Right.
do you want to go with whoever thinks won? Who do you think is going to win?
Well, 3 Billboards is my favorite film.
Yeah.
So
So you
I
gotta
think
go.
we all voted for 3 Billboards. Did
I
we
did.
Not? Yeah.
I
Me as
actually
well.
had Lady Bird for a long time because of the Me Too movement. Like you said, I
Yeah.
think it could be
Yeah.
the same way with Moonlight last year with Oscar So White. I think they wanted to make a statement and pick a movie and set the tone, and this is the future for Academy, blah, blah, blah. I think they were going to do that, but it's just been so 3 Billboards driven the last couple
Yeah.
awards show. Ultimately, I'm always someone who takes my feelings out of. I don't really mind who wins. I take my feelings out of it. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to your favorite movie is it doesn't win an Oscar.
That's true.
Because I think Boyhood would be the most hated movie right now. So I'm perfectly okay with Boyhood not winning, and I get to just
Boyhood.
enjoy it without
That's true.
people hating it.
History
Yeah.
shows too that it's usually the films that don't win Best Picture that end up
Yeah.
being the one that people go back and watch again, and they stand the test of time.
like
And
Star Wars.
yes,
There you go. Great movies will be
Yes.
remembered whether they're winning an award or not. Really.
Yeah, well,
That's true.
and in the end, that gets to the question of like, what is the award worth, right? You and I have both won awards for stuff. Like,
You have?
does it has
Sorry.
it changed? Has it changed anything about you to have won something? Like, I mean,
I don't think I've ever
we're
gotten
still the
one.
same
yeah,
filmmakers, and we're still trying to make the best movies we can make,
Absolutely.
regardless of any of that.
absolutely.
And I don't make my movies like.
And you'll
worrying about
find
if
that
I'm
people
gonna win
don't
something.
remember really.
Yeah.
No.
You'll find people do not remember. So it's not a big deal. Like people forget anyways. Like, would you?
Oh yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah. It looks great on your IMDb.
Right.
For the person who's looking you up for some odd reason.
It's a great laurel to have too.
But I guess for certain things like actor, like, okay, that can make a difference for an actor's career. To win something like an Oscar.
Right. Well, and for directors and producers, yeah.
That's why when Moonlight won last year against La La Land, it felt like a bigger deal. It felt like this should happen because it's going to mean more to Moonlight. La La Land doesn't need an Oscar,
right?
But Moonlight, under $2 million budget,
it could benefit.
It
from
could
nice
really
nudge for them
Absolutely.
for their streaming sales.
And quite frankly, when it comes down to the quality. Either, at least for me, it was kind of a toss-up.
Absolutely.
Year. I feel much more strongly.
My only beef whenever I get to the Best Picture thing is if a movie that feels like it was paint by numbers to win an award wins. That's when I get pissed.
Right.
Well, that would be like The Post.
That would be like The Post.
Yeah. So like The Post here.
I'm so sorry.
A Beautiful Mind was one of those for
Yes.
me.
And I loved
that
Beautiful Mind.
infuriated me when A Beautiful Mind won. And I love Ron Howard and
Yeah.
I ruined an Oscar party years ago when Social Network lost to King's Speech. I ruined
so
it. Everyone got tired of my bitching. I probably ruined it for everyone.
Sure you did,
so ever
yeah.
since that year, I just decided not to get invested anymore emotionally. So I'm not going to ruin any more Oscar parties.
Well, I'm glad that you can put your passions aside, Ryan, but some of us just can't.
Which, speaking of, do you think that there will, if 3 Billboards wins, will there be a backlash? I mean, will we see that?
Of course. There's going to be some sector of the internet who are going to throw a
Well, that's
fit.
just the internet. It doesn't matter what wins.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to get ripped apart on the internet.
I know, right?
The internet's become a really nasty, dark place.
The thing about this category is like the preferential ballot, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
It really could. We don't know. It's so new because they only brought it back a couple years ago.
Oh.
This ballot system, and we've gotten surprised after year after year. I don't know if you knew Spotlight was going to win. I had The Revenant.
No, see, I voted for Spotlight because I just preferred it to The Revenant, but that was again that was one of the first times we saw a split in recent years. Yeah.
It just could be anybody. Honestly, I could see Get Out. I could see Shape of Water getting more number 2 votes because the movie, like we've learned from last year with Moonlight and La La Land. Why do you think like La La Land lost? Because it had some detractors, right? Mm-hmm. It was voted like last on a lot of people's ballots.
That's right.
On some section of it.
That's right. The non-musical fans.
Right. Non-musical really fans or people who there was the backlash that came.
And I think that's why Moulin Rouge lost to Beautiful Mind.
Is that right? Okay.
There's a certain sector of people who just don't like musicals.
Don't like musicals.
Oh yeah, I have people who just wouldn't even consider
that
seeing
year,
La La Land.
Moulin Rouge had been winning everything for like 16 months, like festivals across the board, and then every award show leading up to the Oscars, and then the Oscars goes to Beautiful Mind. It was like, what the, and I think it was just that. Like,
and La La Land came at the worst time. It came.
Yeah.
A white movie came the year right after and it's unfair. I do feel bad for La La Land because I do love La La Land. I do.
Yeah, I mean, it was my favorite film.
It is.
Choreography was. Oh.
Yeah, it got a little bit of an unfair treatment, I feel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with people who are just saying flat out, "Oh, that movie's racist." I think that's totally not. People will go that far on the internet
because it's all white.
Well, yeah,
right.
I guess.
Where's the colored people? Like,
right.
It's like, okay,
But do we really think that Damien Chazelle is a racist? Like, is that fair?
No,
yeah, it's horribly unfair.
Yeah.
So, I think this year there are some detractors of 3 Billboards, and that could prevent it from winning.
True.
But the thing is there's
3 Billboards also has some things going for it in that it is a small budget indie small film that had a limited run. Like, it's a festival darling too, and Academy voters also like to vote for those too.
Clearly love
that
it.
can help give it the boost.
There's a case to be made about most of these.
Yeah. I definitely think this year's Best Picture winner it's a more open field than in some years. I think there's at least 4 in here that could.
I'm going to break something out right now.
Yeah.
The SAG Ensemble?
Yeah.
Yes. Ooh.
So if you get nominated for SAG Ensemble, I don't think a film has won without a SAG Ensemble nomination for like 20-something years.
Right.
Last year, La La Land didn't have a SAG Ensemble nomination. Right. So that should have been people's hint. Like, not all the actors are on board, right?
Right.
The biggest branch in the Academy being actors.
Right.
If they're not going to put in SAG Ensemble, then that shows that there's not that much passion from the actor for this movie. Now, the only 3 movies that have nominations is 3 Billboards, Lady Bird, and Get Out. So in theory, it should be one of those movies.
Yep.
And then there's also, but every single one of those movies
are like the 3 smallest films
right.
of the group, right? I mean...
Right. The little engines that could.
Right.
But each one of those have a problem. 3 Billboards, missing directing.
Yeah.
Lady Bird is, what's the problem with Lady Bird? Not going to win a lot. It's not going to win almost anything.
Yeah.
And then Get Out, it might miss, screenplay. It didn't, both of them weren't nominated for editing. You usually need an editing nomination. So everything's missing something. So it really is a big deal.
It's an open, yeah. Wow.
I mean, editing, typically to win Best Picture, you need an editing nomination.
Yeah.
So
they didn't even get the Shape of Water is the only one in here.
And Shape of Water has all those things, except it doesn't have the SAG Ensemble nomination. So everything is completely
up for grabs.
It's going to be an exciting one to watch. I think so anyways.
My theory is it's 3 Billboards.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of passion. And this is the reason why La La Land, this is my opinion, and I'm all right until I'm wrong. So, again, I could be like an idiot. So last year, La La Land lost to Moonlight, right? But I think what happened is the detractors of La La Land knew what movie to pick, right? If they hated La La Land, what are they going to vote for? We're going to vote for Moonlight. There was like a consensus
You don't know here, yeah.
But here, there's like...
split decision.
They're all going different directions.
Because you're going to have people are going to be picking between Get Out and Lady Bird for its various reasons. Right. And then you've got Shape of Water for a whole nother set on your tech side.
Right.
And yeah, that's a really good point.
So if you hate 3 Billboards, what are you going for?
You're not
Everyone's going
automatically going to go for Shape of Water.
Exactly.
You might go for Get Out. You might go for Lady Bird.
Which works in its favor.
Yeah.
So that's my theory.
Because it's that sort of thing.
I don't think you're going to be wrong on that theory.
If half the people who maybe would vote for 3 Billboards decide not to, but they split themselves across 3 other movies.
Exactly.
3 Billboards still going to come
win.
out on top.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they need to get together. The detractors, if you don't like it, get together and pick one.
The internet.
Go all in.
Put a Facebook page together.
Exactly.
Start a Reddit thread. Come on, we can do this.
So what did Mark go with?
I'm sure he went with 3 Billboards.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know.
It's okay.
He probably went with 3 Billboards.
He probably went with 3 Billboards.
I guess I could have plugged my phone in.
Shape of Water could happen.
It could. I don't know, but I feel like
I'm pretty sure he had 3 Billboards written down.
Yeah. And I feel like if he gets directing, people are going to be
favorite.
like, "Oh, we gave it to him for directing. Let's give it to something."
Right.
Yeah, that's just been.
And again, that goes to screenplay. If we see 3 Billboards win screenplay, I think that's telling.
Yes.
Who won the SAG? Who won the SAG award?
For ensemble?
Yeah.
Now, typically, who wins is not as important. I think Hidden Figures won a few years ago, and it didn't really matter. 3 Billboards won SAG ensemble. And
I think more often than not, though, the one that wins that there also wins Best Picture.
If Get Out wins Best Original Screenplay, does it have a better odds for Best Picture?
Which one?
Get Out.
Get Out.
Yes. If Get Out wins Original Screenplay, I honestly would think
that it might have a good shot there. If it doesn't.
I'm going to because again, that's the same thing that, what was the movie that you mentioned earlier, the one about journalism? Sorry.
Oh, Spotlight. Yes.
It only won screenplay.
That's right.
And then it won
an ensemble
Best
cast.
Picture. An
ensemble
ensemble
cast.
Ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
And Get Out has that SAG ensemble nomination. Mm-hmm. So if Get Out wins screenplay, I'm going to be in suspense, actually.
Yeah. If it does, I'm going to be freaking out.
If 3 Billboards wins, I'm going to kick back and already know what's going to happen. That's basically
yeah. Put it on the small screen.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Well, awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Stuff out. We usually get together and do a recap show.
Okay.
I'm going to have to figure out my schedule and see when I'm in for a night.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And we'll have to squeeze it in real fast and make it happen. But I'll let you guys know when I'm back in town and let's get together and review how we all did. Allie usually keeps these.
Yes.
For the sake of making us honest.
Absolutely. And I'll need marks.
So what happens on the podcast? Do you guys just have bragging rights when you get them all?
Yeah.
And then
I'm
we
so afraid
talk
it's
about
Mark,
who deserves it, and what does it? Yeah, if Mark
so
says it, I don't know
Mark.
if I'm going to be on it.
Let me see Mark's. Is it on here or no?
No, it's not on here. You'll have to send it.
I think I'll send it to you. But if one of you will take his ballot and compare it to Vegas's numbers for me?
I can do that.
And just see if that's in fact what he's doing. Because I'm betting you that's what he's doing.
It's a smart move. I'm not going to deny it.
So this has been our Oscar predictions podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Allie, thank you for once again doing this.
Yes,
this
so
is
much
one
fun.
of my favorite podcasts every year.
Yeah.
And Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks
I would love for you to also become a fixture on this podcast every year.
You have great opinions.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I love the Oscars. So this is great.
And for all of you who are listening to the show, catch the Oscars when they drop and then see how we did. And we'll get together sometime in the next month or so and recap ourselves and poke each other in the
Tell us what you think.
And we'll see how everybody does and how the Oscars fare. Till next time, this is the Intellectual Podcast. I'm David S. Dawson. I'm with
Allie, Lennox,
and Ryan Casselman.
And we will catch you guys again very soon.
On the flip side.
Hey guys, you know the Intellectual Podcast is now a member of the Gonna Geek Network. We're really excited about that, and I want to make sure that you check out some of the shows that are available on the network. Every Tuesday, you'll find Digital Soup at the intersection of tech, gaming, entertainment, and comedy. Join three longtime friends, Jason, Adam, and usually Dave, as they discuss everything from CPUs to celebrities, and maybe even the occasional quiz show. That's weekly on Tuesdays, the Digital Soup Podcast, a member of the Gonna Geek Network at gonnageek.com.